To fulfill the original host's final wish, the moment I transmigrated into this novel, I was immediately hit with the female lead's emotional blackmail. Maya, I'm begging you, please give the valedictorian spot to me. This spot means nothing to you. But I'm different. This valedictorian spot is my only chance to turn my life around. The female lead stood on the roof of the school building, her eyes brimming with tears. She seemed to be pouring her heart out, but her words were subtly accusing me of stealing the valedictorian spot that supposedly belonged to her. My homeroom teacher, who had always had it out for me, ignored the situation and forcefully demanded that I surrender the spot. The cameras were focused on my incredibly calm face. Watching this self-directed melodrama unfold amidst the urging and accusations of the crowd, I slowly spoke up. Sure, if you want it, I'll give it to you. What did you say? Standing on the roof, Chloe seemed uncertain. A flicker of shock crossed her face, which had been prepped for a full-blown hysterical breakdown. Seeing her act so easily turned on and off, I couldn't help but find it funny, but I still spoke loudly and clearly. I said, if you want this valedictorian spot, I'll give it to you. Now, not only was Chloe stunned, but so were the principal, the teachers, and the students watching the spectacle. Everyone knew how incredibly difficult it was to get the valedictorian spot. Every year, students fought tooth and nail for it. It wasn't something you could easily snatch away just by throwing a tantrum. Whoever gave it away would be an absolute idiot, but I really did give it away. Are you telling the truth? Chloe was still standing near the edge of the roof, but her voice now carried a hint of hesitation. According to her plan, I wasn't supposed to agree so quickly. I was supposed to be publicly condemned under her emotional blackmail, and only then would I reluctantly surrender the spot. After all, in the original novel, the host was cyberbullied relentlessly precisely because she refused to back down. But me? My whole brand is doing the unexpected. What else can I do? You're threatening me with suicide. Could I really just let you die? I worked up some emotion, and my eyes instantly turned red the moment I spoke. The first step in countering emotional blackmail is, naturally, to retreat in order to advance, to use softness to conquer hardness. I spoke earnestly. We're classmates. Is there anything we can't discuss privately? Threatening suicide like this, besides giving the school a bad reputation, is irresponsible to your own life. Have you thought about your parents? You're their only daughter. How can you face them after doing this? I know you're on financial aid and things are hard at home, but that's exactly why you can't joke around with your life. With so many classmates here as witnesses, I'm giving you the valedictorian spot. Please stop this and come down. My voice choked with emotion, my eyes growing redder with every word. Every step I took back, every earnest word I spoke, almost immediately shifted the narrative that was previously against me. Maya, are you really willing to give up the valedictorian spot? The principal, who had just been urging me to agree, suddenly seemed hesitant. I can't just watch her do something stupid. I sighed, my eyes red, looking wrong yet helpless. Even though you promised me, principal, that as long as I won gold at the nationals, the only valedictorian spot would be mine. I don't know why this happened, or why Chloe is acting like this, but if she wasn't desperate, she probably wouldn't be causing such a scene. I lowered my head and wiped my tears. My words even carried a hint of manipulative innocence. Retreating to advance, showing vulnerability to the opponent and everyone else, and using manipulative language to frame myself as the helpless victim, I wanted to see if Chloe still had the gall to accept the valedictorian spot I was personally handing over. The principal looked at me with a hint of admiration. Only the homeroom teacher, Mr. Davis, looked at me with suspicion. He lowered his voice and said to me, "Are you serious? Don't play games with me now. And now you're blaming Chloe? If you had given up the spot earlier, none of this would have happened. I think you're just selfish. Playing the victim while getting exactly what you want. Damn it. What the hell is this?" My fists are itching. I looked at Mr. Davis, his eyes full of disgust, my own eyes turning icy. Remembering the unfair treatment the original host suffered because of him in the novel, anger flared within me. Without hesitation, I raised my voice. "Mr. Davis, how can you say that about me?" Because he had deliberately lowered his voice, the people around us hadn't heard what he just said. In the original novel, the host always endured it, thinking it was better to avoid trouble, believing that if she just put up with it, it would pass. But I'm different. Mr. Davis, the principal gave me this valedictorian spot. It's not just something you can give away on a whim. If you were in my shoes, would you willingly give away a spot you worked so hard for? I only gave it up to save Chloe's life. How can you say I'm playing the victim while getting what I want? I deliberately raised my voice, so everyone present could hear me. At this moment, all eyes were on Mr. Davis and me. Even the principal turned to look at us. And I seized the moment. I let the tears flow freely, acting completely emotionally shattered. I covered my face and started sobbing. Wow, was I wrong to work so hard for this valedictorian spot? Why is everyone forcing me? If this is how it is, why did you give it to me in the first place? I've already decided to give it to her. Why are you still criticizing me? I know you've never liked me, Mr. Davis. If that's the case, I'll just transfer schools. As long as I transfer, the spot can legitimately go to Chloe, and no one will be put in a difficult position. I squatted on the ground, crying uncontrollably. Everyone looked at me with sympathy. Some teachers had already started gathering around to comfort me. But Mr. Davis stood there with a livid face, yelling at me as if his brain had shrunk. Maya, if you have the guts, then transfer. Don't think you can threaten the school, just because you have good grades. Let's see which school would take an orphan who can't even afford tuition. Do you think you could have gotten into the nationals without the school giving you the opportunity? Stop acting like you're so great. The principal had taken a phone call earlier and wandered off somewhere. Otherwise, Mr. Davis wouldn't have dared to be so arrogant in front of him. Plus, as the head of the grade and the homeroom teacher of the school's advanced class, no other teacher usually dared to cross him. He belittled me to nothingness, just as he did to the original host. It seemed that no matter how many achievements I had, or how good my grades were in his eyes, I would always be useless. And his hatred for the original host didn't come from nowhere. During a class, the host pointed out an error in his calculation and steps for a problem. Feeling humiliated, Mr. Davis flew into a rage, brutally berating the host in front of the entire class. But that was only the surface. The host was a genius. If she weren't an orphan, her talent might have gotten her into an early college program, exposing her to a world others could never reach. Mr. Davis realized this more than anyone, but as a teacher, he didn't feel sorry for her. Instead, he was jealous. Jealous that she possessed a talent he didn't, and that she would reach heights he could never touch. His internal imbalance twisted him. He constantly suppressed her, belittled her efforts, and mocked her background, all in an attempt to drag her down into the dirt so she would never rise. Disgusting. How does someone like him deserve to be a teacher? Chloe had already been brought down from the roof by the dean. Hearing Mr. Davis belittle me, her face was full of smugness. So what if my grades were better? As long as Mr. Davis disliked me, I would always be beneath her. Mr. Davis looked at me with a sneer. I think you might as well drop out. With your family background, even if you get into college, you won't be able to afford it. You're better off entering the workforce early, so you don't starve later. Transfer? Ha! Let's see which blind school would take you. I'll take her. As soon as Mr. Davis finished speaking, a booming voice echoed from nearby. The sneer on his face instantly morphed into shock. This was undeniably a public slap in the face. The onlookers felt that this scene was far more interesting than Chloe's suicide threat. Following the voice, they saw a middle-aged man in his 40s, hands clasped behind his back, leading a group of people swiftly toward us. The principal, walking beside him, looked as if he wanted to burn a hole through Mr. Davis with his glare. Who knows how much of Mr. Davis's rant he had overheard. Are you? Mr. Davis frowned at the bald man, seeming to recognize him. Just as he was about to ask, the man didn't even spare him a glance. He walked right past him, grabbed my hand without hesitation, and said excitedly, Maya, as soon as I got your text, our teachers and I rushed over here without stopping. I'm so thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. You finally figured it out? The moment the man grabbed my hand, the crowd exploded into whispers. Who is that? Wait, isn't that Professor Carter from Northbridge University? The youngest dean in the country? Even Chloe's smug smile froze. Northbridge University. The top science university in the nation. The kind of place where even provincial valedictorians struggled to get in. And standing in front of me now was Dean Ethan Carter himself. Mr. Davis's face turned pale. You're Dean Carter? Dean Carter finally turned to look at him. Just one glance. Cold. Sharp. The kind of look that made people instinctively shut up. Yes, he said flatly. And you are? Mr. Davis immediately forced out an awkward smile. I'm Maya's homeroom teacher. Homeroom teacher? Dean Carter interrupted. Interesting. His voice remained calm, but everyone could hear the sarcasm hidden underneath. A teacher who tells a national gold medalist to drop out because she's poor? Silence. Dead silence. The teachers nearby all looked embarrassed. Mr. Davis's face alternated between red and white. Dean Carter didn't even give him a chance to explain. He turned to me again, his expression instantly softening. Maya, our university, has discussed your case several times already. Your research paper submitted during the nationals shocked our entire mathematics department. The crowd gasped. Research paper? What research paper? Even the principal looked stunned. Dean Carter continued proudly. Professor Hall personally said your theorem optimization model surpassed graduate-level work. Now, the students looked at me like they were staring at a monster. Graduate-level work? At 18? Meanwhile, Mr. Davis's expression completely cracked. Because he knew. He knew exactly what Dean Carter was talking about. Back then, when I submitted that paper, he had sneered and told the original host not to daydream. You think real professors would care about garbage like this? He had never forwarded the recommendation letter she requested. He secretly threw it away. But genius remains genius. Even buried gold still shines. Dean Carter held up his phone. 3 days ago, the International Committee contacted us directly asking for Maya's information. He smiled widely. They want to invite her into the International Youth Research Program. This time, even the dean beside Chloe lost composure. That program was legendary. Every participant was either a future scientist or academic prodigy. Someone in the crowd muttered shakily, "Isn't it the program where all expenses are fully covered?" Dean Carter immediately nodded. Not only fully funded. He looked at me seriously. Maya, as long as you're willing, Northbridge University will waive all tuition, provide living expenses, arrange independent research resources, and assign senior professors to mentor you personally. Then he paused. And if anyone in this school thinks you're not worthy. His gaze swept coldly across Mr. Davis and Chloe. Then perhaps the problem lies with them. At that moment, the atmosphere completely reversed. The students who had been accusing me earlier suddenly began glaring at Chloe instead. She already had guaranteed admission? Then why was Chloe still forcing her? Oh my God, she literally threatened suicide to steal someone else's achievement. And Mr. Davis kept helping her. Chloe's face turned deathly pale. No, that's not what happened. But nobody cared anymore. The principal finally snapped. Enough. His furious roar made everyone jump. He pointed directly at Mr. Davis. From this moment onward, you are suspended pending investigation. Mr. Davis panicked instantly. Principal, listen to me. Listen to what? The principal thundered. Listen to how you verbally abused students? Or how you pressured Maya to surrender honors she earned herself? Sweat poured down Mr. Davis's forehead. Because he knew. He was finished. The school had cameras everywhere. Everything he said today had been recorded. Meanwhile, Chloe suddenly burst into tears and grabbed my sleeve. Maya, I didn't mean it. Her voice trembled. I was just scared. I just wanted a chance. I looked down at her hand, gripping me tightly. Then I slowly smiled. Softly. Harmlessly. Really? Chloe froze. I gently pulled her hand away. Then why, I asked quietly, did you post anonymously online last month saying I slept with judges to win nationals? Her pupils contracted violently. The crowd erupted. What? You were the one behind that post? Chloe's lips trembled. How did you? Of course I knew. The original host never discovered it. But after transmigrating, I checked everything, including the hidden account Chloe thought nobody would ever trace back to her. I looked at her calmly. You wanted the valedictorian title. You wanted public sympathy. You wanted everyone to hate me. And if I refused, today, you plan to force me into becoming the selfish villain who drove a poor girl to suicide. Each sentence made Chloe's face grow whiter. No. But I wasn't finished. I tilted my head slightly. You know what I find funniest? My eyes curved into a smile. You kept saying the valedictorian spot was your only chance to change your fate. I paused. But the person destroying your future this entire time was you. The moment those words fell, Chloe completely broke down. She collapsed onto the ground, sobbing hysterically. But this time, nobody pitied her. Not anymore. And standing amidst the chaos, I suddenly felt a strange lightness in my chest. A lingering emotion that didn't belong to me slowly disappeared. The original host's resentment, her unwillingness, her pain, all gone. In that instant I understood. Her final wish had never been about revenge. She only wanted one thing. For someone, anyone, to stand on her side for once. 3 days later, the entire incident exploded online. The rooftop video. Mr. Davis insulting me. Chloe crying while pretending to be a victim. Everything spread across the internet at terrifying speed. Especially the part where Mr. Davis sneered. Let's see which blind school would take you. Immediately followed by Dean Carter saying, I'll take her. The contrast was so brutal that the clip went viral overnight. Netizens were furious. How does someone like this become a teacher? He openly discriminated against poor students. That girl won national gold medals and still got treated like garbage? Chloe is terrifying. Emotional blackmail on a rooftop? Seriously? The Education Bureau stepped in almost immediately. An official investigation was launched. Within a week, Mr. Davis was permanently stripped of his teaching credentials. The report listed multiple violations: academic suppression, verbal abuse, favoritism, manipulating student evaluations. Several former students even came forward anonymously, exposing years of humiliation and intimidation. The school could no longer protect him. As for Chloe, the anonymous posts she made about me were traced back completely. Not only did she lose the valedictorian title, but several universities withdrew their preliminary offers after the scandal broke. The scholarship committee also canceled her financial assistance due to academic misconduct. Ironically, the future she desperately tried to steal ended up collapsing because of her own actions. On the day she left school, she stood outside the gate staring at me from afar. Her eyes were swollen red. You already won, she said hoarsely. Was ruining me really necessary? I looked at her quietly. Then I answered calmly. You ruined yourself the moment you decided another person's life was the price for your success. She froze. For a long time she said nothing else. Then she turned and walked away. I never saw her again. A month later, I officially received my admission letter from Northbridge University. Full scholarship, independent research qualification, direct mentorship under the country's top mathematics professors. The original host could never have imagined this future. The day I moved into the university dorms, Dean Carter personally came to help carry my luggage. The surrounding freshmen were utterly stunned. That's the dean. Why is he carrying boxes? Dean Carter ignored them completely and kept lecturing me seriously. Maya, your talent is wasted on undergraduate coursework. I already discussed it with the department. You can join the graduate research lab early next semester. I laughed helplessly. Dean, I haven't even started classes yet. And, he replied confidently, geniuses don't follow normal schedules. News of my achievements spread quickly across campus. Some admired me. Some doubted me. Some were jealous. But unlike before, none of it mattered anymore. Because I had finally understood something. People who truly shine will always attract criticism. The problem was never my brilliance. The problem was that some people couldn't bear to see someone rise higher than them. And this time, I would never shrink myself to make others comfortable again. Years later, at an international mathematics summit, A reporter asked me the same question everyone always asked. Professor Maya, what was the turning point of your life? The flashing lights filled the stage. Countless cameras pointed toward me. I paused for a moment before smiling faintly. The moment I realized something very important. What was it? I looked directly into the camera. Never negotiate with people who weaponize your kindness. And never let anyone convince you that your achievements should belong to someone else. The hall erupted into applause. Far away, beyond the lights and noise, it felt as though a lonely girl who once stood helpless in a classroom had finally received the justice she deserved. And, this time, no one could take her future away again.